Hi, my name is Ricardo Chacon. I am the CEO and founder of BeeMedics. Somebody just noted that I don't know how to iron a shirt, so ignore that. Now let's get started. Every single piece of disruption in history found resistance from the establishment. Market titans applying their strength and pressure allied with some of the media. So thank you Google and Facebook for showing us how disruptive is the blockchain and cryptocurrencies by showing us how afraid you are of them. But let's stop talking about tribal things such as a search engine and a social network. And let's talk about the one thing that we all need, healthcare. I owe you a video talking about the implementation and the token system that we are developing in BeeMedics. So let's jump in. Implementation is the set of actions that you take as a company in order for your solution to access the whole market. Since every single person and healthcare provider is our market, and it's a huge market, we ally with the concept that rather than making an implementation in the market, we're gonna make a market permeation. And what does that mean? You have to define who are your stakeholders. Do you remember that our stakeholders were healthcare providers and people in general? So, healthcare providers, you have service providers and you have product providers. In service providers, you have every single professional of healthcare. Doctors, nutritionists, psychologists, microbiologists, every single professional. Now, you have product providers, drugstores, pharmaceutical companies, macrobiotical companies. Every single thing that you put inside your body is related to your healthcare. So those products have to be part, and those providers have to be part of the healthcare system because they have interaction with your health. Now, in people, you have healthy and you have sick. In sick, you have two categories. You have the ones who have an acute disease and the one who has a chronic disease. This means that all people has different needs in different moments of their life. If you are sick one time, you go to a doctor one time, two times. But if you have a chronic disease, you have to go periodically to your doctor. And if you are healthy, you naturally consume other type of healthcare services and products. Remember that you have in healthcare providers, you have pharmacies, then you have hospitals, clinics, research centers, and a lot more. And in people, you have 7.5 billion in the planet. Every single piece of new technology interacts directly with something named the resistance pyramid. The resistance here goes up. On the most basic level, you have the organization that builds. Every single person in your organization believes that you are doing something good. So they are the first believers of your idea. Then you have the early adopters. These early adopters usually is the people that is always wanting to see what's new in the market, which are the trends. They want to be on the cutting edge of technology. And if they like it, they start using it. Then you have what I call the normal market, which is the people that is usually open, but they want to use a solution that is already being used by other people because they are not gonna risk. And then you have the organizations, which usually are the ones who has the most resistance to adopting something new. Why? Because let's talk about EHRs. EHRs exist. EHRs are a reality. But what happens? You go to one hospital and they have one system. And then you go to another hospital and they have another system. And then you go to a pharmacy and they have their own system. And every single person and professional has their own system, so that is not integrated. If you want someone who has already a system to change, they have to see not just the value on your product, but the use that is receiving in the biggest part of the market. Because at the end, the biggest part of the market is between here and not here. This defines if these people is gonna adopt. You are gonna find more resistance to adopt your solution because these organizations have already a lot of establishment inside their companies. What does organizations do? If you go to Johns Hopkins, they already have an HR and they believe it's a cutting edge EHR. But the problem with that is that they probably spend millions of dollars in that EHR. So in the moment that they see BeeMedics, they're gonna say like, oh yeah, it's amazing, it's really cool, it does everything that we want and more, plus is way cheaper, but they already paid 2, 3, 4 millions of dollars for their system. So they're not gonna immediately adopt it because they owe favors to a lot of people inside the organization. You're gonna have the CTO of saying, okay, no, that's good, but we have to keep our system. Why? Because they're developing it. And nobody wants you to show them that you do something cheaper, better, faster, and safer than what they are doing. So these guys are always gonna have a little bit of resistance. It's natural. But if you want your solution to have true impact on the market, you have to make a permeation in all of these levels. Let's talk about how we solve this. If you have different levels of resistance inside one stakeholder category, what we found convenient, the best way that we found, was to create alliances between each one of these. Why? Because you can assure early adopters with different stakeholders on each category. That's the way BeeMedics get into the whole market by accessing this. And why I'm explaining first the providers? Because usually the providers are the ones who put your information inside a system. That's the way it should be. You should be able to add information to your record and to manage your record, but you can't auto-diagnose yourself. So if we want people to actually use the system, their professionals and their healthcare providers have to use the system as well. Our alliances, we chose them because there are organizations and people that are locomotives. There are two types of people, locomotives and wagons. You have the people that is always bringing more people by showing them where they are heading. It's natural to follow some organizations and some individuals. So what we did is to ally with locomotives that share our vision of how healthcare should be. I promised to make this video shorter than the last one, so I'm gonna jump in and talk about the token and why we chose this. Every revolution has a key named timing. Every change of paradigm involves a change of the thinking model in the market. That's why it's so hard to make a revolution. We believe that this is the perfect timing. We were ready to receive investment from a venture capital, but in the second we saw how revolutionizing was the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, we decided to launch our own token. Because besides all the crap that is being sold, besides all the scams, cryptocurrencies have provided us with the possibility of democratizing the investment. For us, it was really easy to adapt a token system into BeeMedics because for us, it has always been about our users and about giving the benefit of managing their own information. The token is named BeeMedics and it has a lot of great quality. First, BeeMedics as a platform can be used by any single healthcare provider and person. So this token is going to be the currency of every healthcare process. How? We accept in BeeMedics as payment any type of currency. Why? Because cryptocurrencies are just starting in the world. A lot of people doesn't know yet about cryptocurrency and they still have problems paying in credit card or in debit card or by PayPal. So BeeMedics is so universal that we have to accept all type of currency and provide free services for the ones who can't pay. Because what is important here and never lose it of sight is to every single person to have access to healthcare. Now, since we accept any type of currency, when you pay, you'll get as a bonus BeeMedics token. I'm gonna write BT so you can exchange it for anything you want, for services we provide, for services our providers provide inside the infrastructure, or you can exchange it as a cryptocurrency. Then you have the network. And why I'm talking about the network as a plus of the token, because when you have such a big market inside a platform, it means that your currency can be used and will be accepted by the whole community. The real value of your currency is related directly to the amount of people that uses your currency. So since we have a health network and they have profiles, you are going to be able to see how valuable is the token, because a lot of the market price the tokens have are related directly to data that the company provides, and we know that some companies, they manipulate the information. So in the network, you're going to be able to see in a transparent way which is the use that that token has. And last but not least, something really important about the currency is that in the moment that we said no to the venture capital, there were a lot of stock. So that stock is not need to be sold anymore. So when this generates a lot of profits, our users are gonna be benefit by those profits because we are gonna give a surprise to the users that own the token by giving them part of the profit. Now, with all the SEC and all that security, not security problem, with news that we have seen, with the drops in the price of other cryptocurrencies and everything, that is because of the uncertainty that people has in the market of how regulated are gonna be tokens. In some countries, this token probably is gonna be seen as a security. In other countries, they will not. So now, it's not that we want to fight with the SEC or anything, don't take me wrong, but a lot of tokens that they don't give profit are still seen as securities. So it's a really easy decision to say, like, we may already be taken as a security, so why don't share the profits with our users? It is up to you to decide if you want to share this model of token or you don't. At the end, one of the biggest assets is information. If you see the biggest companies on the world, a lot of them, they are because they handle information and they own information. So we want, if you share your information, we want you to be part of that. I want to talk to you about something. There are companies that are spending $300,000 in promoting an ICO. We don't have that amount of money. If you like what you see, you have to get directly involved and share it. So if you believe that every single person in the world should have access to healthcare, share it. Talk about it to your friends, to your family, in communities, share it on networks, because we want this to be made in an honest way. We don't want to have to tell small investors that we know to put money to see that we have a lot of traction in the market. The traction that you're going to see and track in the ICO is people putting their money because they believe in the idea, not us putting money in our idea to look cool. So now it's time for you to decide if you want to be a locomotive or a wagon. Take care.